I'm Robert. I'm with Laguna Tools. Today we're going to be working with the IQ and we're going to be making the Sushi Platter. It's a pretty cool project. It's made from one piece of wood with a little chopstick tray on the side here. Looks pretty nice, and we got a little laser engraving in the front here of a koi fish. Should be a really good project, so let's take a look at the program. Alright, so let's get set up in Fusion. So Fusion 360 is a pretty great program that I use a lot for modeling and for cam work as well. It's great for seeing how things are going to come out in the end and also how the toolpaths are going to be made. So within the design here, just my logic behind it, I have a tray in the back here for some soy sauce, a little indent for some ginger, some wasabi, and then I have a chopstick rest on the right here, and it has a little stand as well where the chopsticks rest when they're not being used. At the bottom here, I have a little bit of an arc just for style, and then a little bit harsher geometry going to the bottom. And then we have kind of dome feet, but also rounded over at the bottom as well. So should be a pretty nice aesthetic, and should be looking forward to seeing this get cut out of some walnut. So then on the cam side of things, I don't want to get too deep into it. We will link in some pretty good resources. Autodesk does have some great resources for tutorials and everything else like that. So just to take a quick peek at what our toolpaths are going to be like, we have a facing operation, a pocketing, a contour, and then a parallel. And then for the bottom, we have a clearing toolpath, some scallops for the feet, more spiral for the edges, a pencil to clean up that inside edge, and then a 2D contour to knock it all out, but I'm leaving some tabs behind so the material doesn't come loose. So let's get started setting up the CNC. Alright, so we have our setup over here. We have our workpiece screwed onto a piece of particle board, and then that is mounted onto the table below. We have our screws sunk into the workpiece, that way when we do our fly cut we're not going to be hitting anything. And we got our fly cutter already mounted into the workpiece, or into the spindle. A note I want to say though is that we don't have our dust collection on here. The reason being is just so you can see it a bit easier. But in reality, we'd highly advise always having it on and having a nice dust collection running. And then of course always have your safety goggles on as well. Alright, so we're going to use this tool touch off to get the precise exact height of our tool in the collet. So I'm going to plug it right in and then touch off. To do our tool touch off, we're going to press menu and the on off button at the same time. The bit's going to lower and then just barely touch off and then retract back up. So now we're all set. So we're just doing a big facing operation, so it's starting a bit outside of the workpiece and then it's going to shortly whip right back into it. So next we're going to swap out the fly cutter for a 1/4 inch end mill, and we're going to make sure that we also re-zero our bit in the workpiece to make sure that everything is good. So I'm going to put on the ball nose to do the 3D contours. So it looks like the toolpath came up pretty nice. It's pretty smooth, I'm generally pretty happy with it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to unscrew it, flip it over, use our indexes again, and then run our next path. So now that we've flipped the piece over, we re-zeroed our bit within the spindle, and we also indexed. We should be all good to go. So we're going to run our next fly cutting operation. So yeah, the cut went pretty well. I like the texture over here is pretty neat, but this edge work wasn't as great. I'll probably have to review the tool paths to improve it in the future. But moving forward, we're going to switch out the bit to a ball nose bit for some 3D contour on the edge here. And then we'll have probably just one more tool path after that, one more tool change, and we should be all set. Alright, so it came out pretty nice. Definitely a pretty smooth finish here. You can see a little bit of the tool marks, but other than that, it's really quite nice. Pretty happy with it. We got one more pass to do. We're going to do our 2D cutout, and then we should be all good to go. Alright, so we're all done on the machining for this piece. Seems like it came out pretty good, just barely not through over there, but it's looking pretty nice. Our tabs are holding in, and yeah, now we just gotta work on our little chopstick holder over here. So we'll go back into Fusion 360 to finish this off. So our first operation is going to be a scalping operation, which is just going around the whole workpiece and giving a nice smooth finish to it. And then after that, we'll do a 2D contour, go around the whole piece to clear it out, and then we're gonna leave just a little bit of a tab behind so the piece doesn't go flying. So let's get started. All right, so we have our stock loaded up, we have our bit loaded up into our collet, and we have it all zeroed off. I did the touch off, and I zeroed it in reference to our stock, so we're all set to get going. On to our last cut, we got a 1/4 inch end mill loaded up and re-zeroed, and we're good to go. Alright, so we just finished our last part. Let's test the fit on it. Looks pretty nice. Nice and good tolerance on that. And so lastly, we just have to finish this off, do a little light sanding, and then yeah, just apply a food grade coat to it. Alright, so as an added bonus, we're going to use this, one of our latest products, the Smart Shop Laser EC. It's a really nice laser engraver and etcher that we're going to be using to etch a nice koi fish decoration on top of our sushi platter. Should be a really nice touch. Then we're going to polish it off, give it a nice finish, and it should be all good to go. Alright, so let's take a look at what we got here. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, nice, pretty good engraving here. The design came out really nice, so I'm pretty happy with this. So we're just about finished up. I'm going to test out the stick holder here. Looks pretty nice. Came up pretty well. Yeah, really happy with this project. The IQ was a great machine to run this. It was really nice and precise. Even the sanding was really just a touch-up. So really happy with how it came out. I think it was a great project, and really excited it came out the way it did. I think there's just one thing missing from here though. So now the project's really done. The sushi is really the final element for it. Really happy with this project. I think it went really well. That wraps it up for this episode though. Stay tuned for new projects using plenty more machines. We've got a lot of cool stuff from the Laguna to check out. And yeah, looking forward to hearing from you, and keep on making.